out.
Welcome back to Selly and Los. I'm Los.
And I'm Selly.
And this is Out of Frame. Here to discuss from episodes 4 through 6. I know we've been gone for a little while. We're happy to be back, and we got a lot to catch up on. And I know things have really moved quickly in the last couple of weeks. Well, not only for us here at home, but just in the From universe as well. So we're excited to get in on it, and Selly's going to brief us on what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. So like Lo said, we're going to recap episodes 4 through 5. Just tell it as like one continuous story, because genuinely each episode did build on each other quite nicely. So in this episode, we'll cover the dolls, Jade on Shrooms. We'll talk about Sophia's escalation and like how she's getting herself involved in with the From villagers. Talk about the golem, and then I've got a nice juicy Reddit theory, a chisme of the week that I definitely want to discuss at the end of this episode. All right, so let's jump in. Let's talk about the dolls, right? So that finally came to fruition by episode 4, right? At the end of the episode, they pull the rope from the lake and 3 life-size dolls come to the surface.
Yeah, that was kind of freaky. At first, I didn't know what it was. Spoilers from the trailers, you kind of have an idea of what it is, but just to see those mounds, those things just float up to the top, left you wondering like, what is going on now? What are they about to unload on the From villagers?
Yeah.
So it was kind of a interesting scenario, and to see everybody's reaction to it, and then to know what happens immediately afterwards. It's kind of intense, kind of crazy, and just makes you a little wary of dolls, especially those old kind of, what are they called? The
Raggedy Ann.
Raggedy Ann dolls, yeah.
Yeah, that definitely gave Raggedy Ann vibes. But we find, right, when they bring them up from the lake, where like Tabitha starts to remember that it was part of her childhood, that they were her dolls during, I guess, a past life when she was in the From village. And there was a villager there that hated her dolls, was scared of them, had some irrational fear of those dolls. And then he threw them into the lake, and those fears came to life.
Did they say that they came to life once he passed, once he died, right? Or something like that? I think that's the way they've been explaining it. So once
he died, his fears came to life.
In the village, your fears come to life in the village.
Yes.
Similar to what happened to
the cicadas
with what's her name's brother?
Nathan, yeah, with Sarah's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you're right. Like the guy died, and then wasn't he killed at the hands of the ragdoll?
To be honest, I'm not exactly sure.
So if you're listening to this, correct us in the comments. Was it after he died that the fears came to life, or was the fear itself coming to life what killed this villager that was afraid of them?
I mean, you think about it. Nathan's fears came to life after he died.
Yeah.
So I think it's after they died, because mind you, this villager could have died from any other numerous things that are out to try to kill him. So that's, I'm guessing, is probably once you die, your fears become part of the landscape and in the village.
Yeah. So we can operate on that theory. And then from there, once the dolls come to life, they hear like big stomping. The From villagers are in the cabin at night. They have the talisman up. They're thinking the talisman can protect them, and they hear stomping all around. And then this big old doll breaks in, grabs Roger. It's so gory. Tears him apart. Like it just stuffs his hand in him.
Yeah, and then just dislocates his lower jaw and everything. Kind of graphic.
It was a lot. Right.
But not gonna lie, the CGI could have been a little bit better. It looked a little phony, but yeah, overall sold it pretty well. It was still very gross. I
definitely looked away, so I didn't notice the CGI. But from there, where the rest of the From villagers that are in the cabin run out, including one of the ladies, I forget her name, Susan, some like generic.
You talking about the one that burned her face, or the one that, because there was one. Was Roger the only one that got killed?
Yes, Roger was the only one that got killed. One of the other villagers got, like, the doll grabbed her face and put it against the coals and burnt her face. And then after that, we see Ellis runs off to try to save this villager, which he does. And then we see one of the dolls standing behind Donna, about to kill her. And then Tabitha remembers how to kill it.
Yeah, tab. What does she grab? She grabs one of the
What are they called? The
like this
statue
statue spear looking things that
Yeah,
are in the village, in the lake
totems.
village.
I forget what
Yeah,
they're
there
called.
you go, the
Yeah,
totems. Yeah,
and stabs it, and she says, "I remember how to kill them." Um, because that thing was about to kill Donna, was choking her, which we felt in that moment was like a foreshadowing of something to come. Okay, then finally to close the loop on this moment, when Donna and team finally go back to Colony House, they show Roger. Donna shows Boyd in the shed Roger's body, what happened to him, and then we see
what the what the what the dolls did to him,
yes,
which is they sewed him up to look like a Raggedy Ann doll. It was freaky. It was
yeah.
probably
What
one of the most disgusting, weird things I've ever seen in my life, probably because to see the big buttons over his
uh
eyes and like his mouth stitched up, like it was kind of gross.
yeah, real fear, real fear. So, question to you on that. That one I don't think we saw coming. I just expected his jaw to just be
That's
dislocated.
exactly what I thought as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think that means? Is that because one of the dolls was
Right.
able to just escape or walk away?
Yeah, as soon as Tabitha killed that one doll, the other doll just took off running.
Yeah.
So
Oh, and there's 3 dolls total actually. So 2 of the dolls are still roaming.
yeah, still roaming. And I'm, I'm in my assumption, what I'm thinking is that this is going to be the replacement. So they've stitched this guy, they stitched Roger up to look like a doll,
Mhm.
and for him to be the next doll, which going off, this is obviously in the latest episode,
Mhm.
episode 6.
But-
They just kind of have that body laying in the shed, and that's kind of worrying me because of what I don't know. Maybe it's a ritual that these dolls just performed on
Mhm.
it to create
Maybe.
the
Yeah, we
next
don't
monster
know.
doll.
But they did something.
Yeah, and but the villagers, like Boyd, everybody's just left that body
Yeah.
in the shed,
I mean, there was a
the
lot
way
going
it's
on in that moment,
you
but
know
yeah.
stitched up and everything. So I don't. Yeah, I definitely think it's Roger's going to come back in doll form and going to wreak havoc on the villagers potentially.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I could see that coming. All right, let's move on to the next moment. Next big moment of these 3 episodes was Jade Jade's shroom trip and ultimately what led us to the door in the basement. So we start off with Jade taking the shrooms, sitting in the sheriff's office, and he starts to get signals about like the journey that he needs to take while he's high on these shrooms. He goes into the forest. Boyd is following him as part of this story. And when he goes into the forest, he encounters himself. Jade encounters himself as a 12-year-old boy. At which point, the 12-year-old boy is playing the violin in a specific song or musical melody. Yeah, melody from that Jade played when his grandmother passed. So it definitely evoked a lot of emotion from Jade and trust as well that this is something specifically from like his childhood. Then in that moment, the man in with his eye jabbed out and the blood in the skull appears and tells Jade to drink.
Exactly. It's almost like a truth serum, not even a truth serum, but almost like a
A
awakening.
ritual?
I
Yeah.
think it's just an awakening of his brain to like accept what he sees and to like for him unkui, remember.
Remember. Yes,
And
and he
then
does say that when he drinks it. He says Unkui.
then after that, it's you get to see the different, I guess,
Past lives.
past lives, exactly the past lives that Jade has had in the village, going from the original settlement, when it
Mhm.
looked like some pilgrim, almost like
No, the Civil War
I know,
person was his incarnation. So all the way back to there.
but even before that, like
Mhm.
I'm thinking that the guy with the face bashed in.
Oh, you think that was before the Civil War guy?
That's even before that. I think that's like
Okay.
Jamestown settlement kind of era, like
Oh, interesting.
1700s, 1500s, I don't know, whatever year, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
back in those times. So like,
Yeah, because the Civil War would have been the 1800s, right?
hmm
Um,
so I'm guessing it's going back. I mean, it's multiple
when the US was first settled.
U.S. or when the Americas were
The
first
Americas were
discovered
first
by,
settled.
well, not discovered, but
Yeah. And
settled.
yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting theory. Well, I mean, it'll be good. We should look at all of his past life to see what clues we can see there. Because we see the guy with his eye jabbed out. We see the guy with the boulder on top of him. The Civil War guy, we see Christopher. And all of them have a violin or are playing the violin. One guy pointed out on Reddit that it was hilarious that the boulder the guy with the boulder on top of him had a violin just like right on top of the boulder. Like, it was unnecessary, but I think it landed the point that like all of them have some connection to the violin. The violin plays some type of role.
Yep.
And at that point, one of the things that they see across all of them, Jade realizes that none of them have been torn apart.
So they weren't killed by the monsters in
Mhm.
the village. That means obviously there's been some type of violent internal strife between the villagers themselves, some internal village civil war, or I don't know what's going on. But
Mhm.
going back to what the man in yellow said, this is when they this is when they tear themselves apart.
Yep.
So the cycle is coming back again. It's expected. The young man in yellow, Sophia, is expecting this to happen again.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it's all like cyclical, like we've been saying,
Mhm.
and well, hopefully this is the last cycle. And we got a couple of jailbreak kind of cheat codes in there,
Yeah.
namely Victor and I think I forget her name
Uh, Julie.
and Julie.
Yeah.
So got a
Yeah.
couple of things that are on these guys' side, this
Yeah.
cycle's
That
iteration
potentially
side.
didn't exist in the past cycles. That's a fair point.
Mhm.
That'll be interesting to see how that plays a role. But from there, right, they tell him that he's essentially running out of time
Mm.
and that he needs to act quickly. They also share that both him and Tabitha are essentially murdered by the town, but Tabitha or her past lives get a worse demise than.
Well, the thing, I don't think Tabitha. Well, if you think about it, Miranda, right?
Yes.
Tabitha, she wasn't killed by the town.
No, yeah, you're right.
She was killed by the monsters and then eventually eaten by the man in
Yeah.
yellow. So, that not killed by the town, definitely a worse fate.
Mhm.
But so I think that's kind of where we are headed with her.
Yeah,
So,
because we know her death, so that's interesting. Was Miranda's death different from the previous cycles? It's just different, right?
and that could be the start of why, I mean, Victor's still around too. So,
Mhm. That's interesting. So then from there, Jade and Boyd enter Colony House and they navigate towards the basement, at which point Jade realizes there's a door behind this tower of things in the basement of Colony House, takes down all those things, finds the door, enters, goes through the tunnels by himself-ish. No, like
no, I think, yeah, no, it
is
is.
there, but like he kind of disappears at one point.
Yep.
And then Jade navigates towards
The ritual room.
the ritual room, exactly where the sacrificial, like,
Sacrifices of children. We believe
yeah,
that's where the sacrifices of children happened.
exactly,
And that's when all of the smiley monsters come out and they converge on Jade.
on Jade,
They grab him and they shove him into a shallow grave right in the center of the ritual room.
the ritual room. And then when they put the stone over that tomb,
Mhm.
he sees the kid, one of the Unkui kids who says Unkui, and then Jade screams his head off,
Comes
comes to, yeah, and then he wakes up in the sheriff's office.
to where Boyd basically tells him, where he's like, where did Jade's startled and it's like, where's how did I get here? Where did we
Hmm.
go? Like,
We
we were
haven't
here.
gone anywhere.
And Boyd's telling him, you've gone nowhere. You just sat down and didn't go
And
anywhere.
stared out the window. And it's nighttime by this point. So obviously, a lot of time has passed where Jade is just sitting down and staring, I guess. But in that, he tells Boyd, I know how to get us out of here. We need to find the bones of these children that were sacrificed and take them out from that center, like ritual room and put them to rest.
Yep.
Then Boyd starts to argue and saying, this is a suicide mission. What you're doing is a suicide mission. The following morning, Jade encourages him to go to the basement so he can show him the proof. They don't find the door in the basement.
Now, before we go down this
Hmm.
path, I just want to touch base with the fact that this has been a common theory from a lot of redditors and from avid from watchers that have stated this is going to be linked to saving the children and potentially like unearthing removing
The bones.
bones, etc. So it's just kudos to all of you sleuths out there and avid TV watchers because this feels like it is a fairly common, uh, I
Theory.
guess path and theory for especially shows dealing with any type of ritualistic
Mm.
activities. You could think of like native grounds, sacred lands, etc. Removing bones or burying bones, putting spirits to rest or disturbing them. So
Mhm.
this kind of goes like right along those lines. So
Yeah. Yeah. There's a ton of undertones throughout, like indigenous or Native American kind of folklore throughout the series. So I love that you said earlier there's this connection where you think this is all the way back to Jamestown when the first Puritans, whoever, like
settlements.
settlers came
So yeah,
to the Americas, and how that's what triggered this potentially. That's an interesting theory. I haven't seen that one. But yeah, so then from there, this is where a bunch of stuff happens, including Donna having a heart attack. Eventually, we'll talk about the Donna heart attack in a bit, but eventually Boyd goes outside and Khatri finally reappears to him after, I mean, we haven't seen him this entire season, I don't think.
we've seen him. I think maybe one other time
One other time.
potentially. Yeah, earlier in the season.
And he's pushing him and he's saying, we're running out of time. Jade is onto something. Why are you just like not engaging with this? And finally, Boyd says, like, I'm not going to take a leap of faith without some proof because this is putting everybody's lives on the line. And so he runs to the basement, takes a sledgehammer to the wall, and then we see behind the wall a door.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
I got nothing to add to that.
yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
All right. So this is probably one of the biggest storylines of this season. Super exciting that, you know, the possibility that retrieving the bones of the kids could really unlock this town. Now, one other recurring theme has been, right, that knowledge comes at a cost.
Exactly. Yeah, very true. Yep.
Yeah. Given that Donna had the heart attack, you know, for some time she was potentially, like, we assumed dead and would not come back or would just be a vegetable. Do you think that was the From Village entity? Like, do you think Donna was meant to be a sacrifice for the knowledge that Jade gained?
Yeah, I actually do. But now the fact that she survived, what does that mean?
I mean,
Long term, like what's going to happen? Is there somebody else that's going to be sacrificed, or because of I don't know more modern technology having a defibrillator there,
yes.
those type of things preventing the you know the exchange of one for one that's been kind of happening with the exchange of knowledge for somebody's life essentially. What does that entail now? Because they kind of changed the game with her survival and her being alive now.
Yeah. That'll be interesting to see.
Could it make things worse? Could it make things more aggressive now? They're
Because the
learning.
transaction wasn't fulfilled.
Yeah, and exactly now I mean, who knows what Donna might have seen or lived through while she was
Oh.
in that state. So what might have happened to her mind? Where did she go? Will we know? Will we find out? Was there some secrets unlocked for her while she was in that state? So it opens the possibilities to a lot more storytelling and
And more
also
information coming through.
more information and from Village being extra aggressive going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a lot harder. I love that you said, what did Donna learn in that moment where she was dead for a couple minutes? Because as one thing that you and I have talked about previously, right, is that I think it was episode 4 where Marielle had been like chained up, right, and got scared, and she had heard through the radio all the screams, and she said they were the screams of everybody that's died here. So even in death, you don't get to live from Village. So Marielle said,
Leave from Village.
yeah, you don't get to leave. So Marielle said that. Then Jade, seeing all of his past lives, essentially kind of confirms
cements the fact that everybody's kind of stuck there, but different timelines, very different dimension.
Yeah. But Donna being potentially the only one that has been both in the land of the dead and the land of the living for the From Village world, she's going to have a perspective.
Nobody else is going to. Yeah, we've got a couple of good episodes. I mean, how many episodes we have left?
I think it's a total of 10 episodes this season, so we got 4 more episodes.
I think so.
Either 3 or 4 more episodes.
Is it 10 or 12?
It's always been like between 9 and 10, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So we could have 3 or 4 more episodes left. Yeah, I think what Donna learns is going to be hugely important.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
So I'm excited for that. Okay. So I think we're operating under the assumption that that will be a true unlock, removing the bones from the ritual. Yeah, I think, as you noted, most Redditors agree that that's likely the solve. So we'll see. I think it'll be one of the keys. I don't think it'll be the final key.
Yeah, I mean, it also feels kind of just simplistic. a little
Too
too
obvious?
a little too obvious. As we've discussed prior, these are producers, writers from Lost, and that just feels like no, you got to complicate it more. There has
Yeah,
to be
they're
something
going
else.
to complicate it
There has
more.
to be something else thrown in. So I think that's maybe that's probably a part of the solution. There
Yeah.
might be other steps and other things that need to be accomplished before they are able to escape or leave this place.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested to see what that will be next episode. All right, so let's move on to another storyline. It's a smaller storyline, but I do think it's going to be a super important one. It's Sophia and her escalation to get to the point of where the villagers, quote unquote, tear each other apart. What we saw between episodes 4 and 6 is that in episode 4, she started to put voices into um,
Sarah.
Sarah's head,
Mm.
hurts herself, and throws herself into the pool, and like breaks her arm. So that's one moment where she escalates. The next moment, obviously, is where she touches Marielle in the clinic, and
Mm.
Marielle moves up and is like chained or like
Was it
reenacts her being chained.
back to the dungeon?
Yes. And then she starts to
Flashback.
scream, and then she comes out of it. And then finally, the next level of escalation that we've seen from Sophia is where she starts to follow Henry around. Henry was at she encounters him at the sheriff's office, looking at the man in yellow's suit after Henry has discovered how Miranda died and what the man in yellow did to her. Then Henry tries to leave and goes to the bar to start to drink again, unfortunately. And Sophia follows him there.
Yeah.
They get drunk,
She's just stirring the pot.
stirring the pot, and then eventually we're over here thinking like they're showing the glass,
Yeah,
broken glass,
I'm thinking that she's gonna stab him, kill him, or
kill him,
something. But
something.
no, she ends up cutting herself and then putting her blood in his drink.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do? Is that some type of manipulation, mind control that she can gain over somebody when her blood is in their system?
Yeah.
It's gonna, or does that, or is I don't know. A part of me is thinking it's just gonna drive them mad. Maybe like it's a chaos agent to just make Henry start going wild
Yeah.
and crazy. Um,
Yeah, because they revived the storyline in this moment where she says to Henry, what if this is just all a dream?
yeah.
And that's the Abby storyline. She says that, and Abby starts to everybody, right?
Yep.
But the writers have said separately that Abby's theory that this is just a dream is not what From Village is. So why would the writers reintroduce this storyline?
This is well, in my opinion, this is where Henry's now the catalyst of pushing the idea that this is all a dream. You're going to hear him preaching it everywhere, getting it into people's heads. It's a dream. They need to kill themselves to get out of this place or kill each other, etc. To this is how we get out. This is going to start the decay in their village to start dividing the people that think there's a way of finding a way out and people that think that the way out is to die, is to kill yourself
Yeah.
and leave. So that kind of, I mean, that definitely lines into what the man in yellow. This is where they start killing themselves, and what we saw when Victor was a kid, when Victor clearly stated they started killing themselves. They started killing each other. So
Did they say that? They just said it was like I don't think Victor ever said how they died. He just said it's when everything happened, when everything went
I thought he
crazy.
did say that.
No, because Victor he was in the cellar. He didn't see how anybody died. He came out and he saw everybody flayed open.
Mm,
Yeah. I mean, it's an event of some
mhm,
sort
mhm.
that affects everybody in the town. And it could be exactly what you said. One thing that I remember you called out, you had a theory that Sophia doesn't actually know that Victor is Victor.
Yeah, I think that was a unlock for her. Well, not unlock, but like a shock to her when she was talking to Henry and he was talking about his family being there. Because you saw her reaction when he said, "Oh, your family's still here."
I didn't think she reacted. You
I,
saw a
I
reaction?
thought she did. I thought she looked like kind of like, oh, like more like interested. Like, oh, you have
Mm,
family here? Who else
mm-hmm.
is your family here?
Oh, you're right. She did question more, but her
Yeah,
face didn't change, and she's a really strong facial actor. So maybe that was purposeful to not give away that this is something that she's
because
interested in.
I really don't think Victor was supposed to survive the
Mm-mm.
first, well, that last cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, say died when he was supposed to die, like at 8, 9 years, 9, 10 years old, right? He would have been, now he looks like he's what, 50 years old?
Yeah, I think so, because he said that his son had been stuck there for 40 years, and he was probably between 8 to 10 when he got stuck there.
40 years. So that will kind of line up with how old Tabitha is and how old Jade is.
Mm-hmm.
So when all the villagers died, that means they probably would have been born in our world,
Mm-hmm.
reborn in our world. So the cycle started again.
Yep.
So I don't think Victor was supposed to
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah. And so maybe that's why Sophia is targeting Henry to.
Well, I think now that she knows that, yeah, she's targeting Henry to kind of corrupt the rest of
Yeah.
the village.
And that's my, like, one of my follow-up questions is like, okay, so now we've kind of walked through why potentially Sophia is targeting Henry, likely to get to Victor. But why is she targeting Sarah and Marielle instead of the people that are the closest to breaking this wide open, which would be Boyd and Jade and Tabitha?
Well, I think Sarah is close enough to Boyd now, where if she needed to have Sarah potentially off Boyd, she could
Oh.
do what she could get close enough to potentially kill Boyd.
You think? I don't see Sarah
I mean,
killing. I see
I
her
don't see
killing
her
her.
doing it, but I can see her pushing her, trying to get her to do it.
Okay.
I mean, that's just throwing it out there, just seeing what sticks. But
Not Sarah, Sophia is going to try to get folks to, like, essentially off themselves.
Mm.
What if this is just a dream? The most fragile there that could potentially do that would be probably Marielle and Sarah, right?
I don't think Sarah would. But Marielle,
I
yes,
think
I can see
Marielle
Marielle.
would if the voices are telling her to hurt Boyd. She'd probably say, "No, I will hurt
Who,
myself."
Marielle or Sarah?
Sarah.
Okay, Sarah.
Sorry, Sarah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Then I think that's where she'd say, "No, I will absolutely not hurt anybody else," and then maybe she hurts herself instead.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I don't know about Marielle though. Like, she was, I think, a little bit more weak, given that she came in with, like, the drug addiction, but she seems to be a lot more strong-willed and strong-minded in this
Because
season
Christy's there.
because
Anything
Christy's there.
happens to Christy, that
Mm,
might push her over the edge.
that's true.
So
Okay, that'll be interesting to see. All right, so let's move on to the next big moment. Well, I don't know how big it is, but it's definitely something that worth calling out, where we find out what Victor knows. We find out a little bit more in these 3 episodes about who the man in yellow is, how he arrived, right? That he arrived with everybody else, that he thought he had a funny yellow suit, but that they didn't expect him to be anybody of consequence. It wasn't until he saw him over Miranda's body,
yeah, over his mom's body, eating her.
yes, that he realized that he was not who he said he was.
It took him seeing him eat his mom to find out he's
Yeah.
not a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, no,
Yeah.
but that must mean that he infiltrated the villagers of that
I
cycle.
mean, similar to what Sophia's doing now.
Exactly.
I was just a meek older. He looked like an older man,
Mhm.
meek with a yellow suit,
Mhm.
and so
Yeah. And so from there, the last thing that we kind of learn as far as the man in yellow goes is that he arrived in a big brown car.
is that the car that
Fatima
Fatima was
destroyed.
destroying?
I think so. I think those 2 moments will converge at some point.
Go back and look at that episode and check that and see
Yeah.
if that's the one that she was
But
going ham
how
on.
the question there would be, like, how did he acquire this car? Was it just that he, like, found it somewhere else and then drove it in from, like, an old villager? Or did he kill somebody on the way there, kick them out, and then drive in himself? Like, he's already part of the From World entity, or actually had he escaped and then come back? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see, but those are the little tidbits that we've found. Did I miss any other details on what we've learned about the man in yellow in the past 3 episodes?
No,
Okay.
no. I mean, they've dove into some information, but we don't really know anything about his past. We
Yeah.
just know that he was there, and
He was unassuming.
yeah, he was unassuming, and he ended up eating people. But besides that, we don't really know any
Yeah.
additional information.
At the end of this episode, we'll talk more about him eating people, so that'll be interesting. Okay, the next kind of smaller storyline, but could be something to watch, would be Fatima and the golem, right? So we find in episode 4 where Fatima explains to Boyd that she has to build this golem thing, golem, golem. I don't know how to say it, to essentially try to give herself more strength and fight off Smiley. She's connected to Smiley still. They're both connected to each other, that he can feel her fear and feed off of it. And so building this golem gives her strength which means then it limits the fear that Smiley can feed off of. Then from there, she shares by episode 5, the golem is just really tall. We don't really see a whole lot more progress at that point. But in then episode 6, we finally, when Ellis comes back from the cabin, Fatima and him finally talk about it, and she shares that the golem is from the Golem of Prague story, and that she thinks her dad really tried to put these stories into her mind to remind her that magic is real, and that just like there is in this from village, magic that's bad and like evil, just as much there would be good and pure magic that could help them. And so that's what she's trying to pull from.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on the story of the golem? Of what is it called again?
The Golem. Yeah, the Golem of Prague.
Yeah.
So I did dig into this a little bit online, and I saw some theories on Reddit as well, that initially Redditors connected it to the Golem of Prague from the very beginning before she ever called it out. So shout out to those Redditors. You guys were definitely on it. Apparently, this Golem of Prague was built by a rabbi of that time with the purpose of like making a champion to protect the people of that time. From what I don't really remember, but one key thing that stood out was that this golem did good in the beginning, but eventually became uncontrollable. And so there was a cost to it. Just like another, theme throughout this whole thing, that there are transactions here at play. There's a cost for knowledge. So I'm interested to hear what you think. Like, do you think this golem's gonna come to life? And if it does, will it be all good, all bad? Or do you think it's gonna be a mix where it becomes uncontrollable? Like the golem from
I mean, just like your nightmares become real, who's to say dreams or wishes can't become real here? So potentially, I mean, but that would means Fatima at some point dies,
die.
potentially.
We don't know.
So you got to worry about that.
I like that theory, that just like nightmares can become a reality in this town, so can dreams. But it ultimately means that Fatima will die in this
I
season.
think so. I think well, I don't know if this season, but at some point, yes. Well,
Yeah. For her golem to come to life.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay. That'll be interesting.
Which takes away from my previous theories, because I always thought that
Would be the first to
I
die?
thought Ellis would be one of the ones to die this year, but this season. But I think it's going to be his wife now, especially with the golem. Yeah, I think her sacrifice is going to bring the golem to life.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, when the actor, Ellis's actor, was on Reddit, he did Ask Me Anything. I think I might have shared this in a previous episode, but while he was on Reddit, he did an Ask Me Anything session, and there was a lot of engagement from the Redditors, which was great. But one of the things that Ellis's actor shared is that Ellis plays a little bit of like a hero role in this season, that he's going to really step up to the plate and really be there for Boyd and the village in the way that he's not going to be a background character, Solutions anymore. I have yet to see how he's contributing to Solutions, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, that'll be an interesting one. Okay, this is the final big moment. We've been saving it for last. This happened in episode 4. Big deal. Recall the story walking that Julie did.
Yes, the bookmarking.
Where she realizes that this bookmark thing or theory from the books, the Flight of the Chromonacle, Ethan's books, that bookmarking is how the story walker gets around from place to place. They do the test, and unfortunately, the test does not work, because she story walks into the day where everything happened, where everybody died in the previous cycle. And she sees the man in yellow.
And he comes right after her.
Yeah, but she sees him eating others. That's the first time we see that. I think we saw that first before, or maybe we saw it in the same episode where...
I wonder what's going to happen when she sees the yellow suit.
You're right. She hasn't yet seen the one in the sheriff's office, right?
Yeah, she hasn't seen it. So
okay,
that's something maybe to look forward to in the next couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Her actually seeing that and then saying what she saw and realizing that this is a real thing.
Okay, so that was going to be one of my questions to you. Do you think she would share anything with anybody? But that's likely the trigger. She wouldn't until she sees the suit.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. But then unfortunately we see in that moment, right, she's freaking out. The man in yellow also seems startled and surprised by her presence and
Mm.
starts charging at her, like you said. And she drops the bookmark and then she gets pulled out, thankfully, by Randall from the ruins. And she finds that the bookmark did not work. Okay. I have a few more things to add here, but I'd love to hear from you. Do you think that the bookmark theory just doesn't work, period? Or do you think it just didn't work this time because of the way that they did it? Like it just failed because it's the wrong bookmark or certain rules need to be followed?
Probably that. Probably certain rules. Maybe it isn't just an actual bookmark, but more of a moment, a
Mhm.
bookmark.
Yeah.
So thus
Where she
losing.
like manifests it maybe emotionally or
Yeah,
mentally?
exactly. So like
Mm-hmm.
her father passing,
Mm-hmm.
that'll be a bookmark moment in her life.
Yeah.
But how did she go back to that point? How did she go all the way back to that?
She did at one point, clearly, because we see it, right, at the end
No,
of episode.
no, yeah, no. I'm
Or,
talking about how does she go back? How does she go back to the day that everything happened? That
yeah.
everything happened
Yeah. What did she do? Like, she wouldn't have known that that happened and she wouldn't have thought about it.
unless she was a previous villager. What
Is every single person there
a previous
a
villager?
Purvis villager?
Yeah,
We haven't, I don't think there's enough to like confirm yes
we
or no.
yeah, and we can't. I mean, so far all we know for sure is Tabitha and Jade,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. Nobody else that we know has been,
A previous villager.
yeah, a reincarnation, so to speak,
Yeah,
that
you're
we know
right.
of.
That we know of, no. Not yet. But it'll be interesting to see like who else comes up. I do still think Elgin is a reincarnation. We originally thought
Yeah,
Elgin was a reincarnation from the guy who got stabbed in the eye.
yeah,
But now we know that no, he is
Jay.
Jade's reincarnation.
Hmm.
Correct. Okay, so on this here, one more thing on the man in yellow, or not the man in yellow, one more thing on the story
Story
walking.
walking.
Julie does kind of hint to, in this last episode, Julie hints to Sarah that something happened and that she can connect to Sarah and understand why Sarah did what she did.
Yeah.
And then they start to paint Sophia's room, the irony, like the evil person that's actually making all this happen. In that moment, Sophia kind of asks Sarah like, whether she thinks she'd be able to.
Sophia.
Sorry, not
Julie.
Sophia. Julie asked Sarah if she actually thinks she'd be able to save her dad. Sarah doesn't confirm or deny, but you can tell in her expression or her face that it's like you shouldn't put too much stock in what this place makes you think. And so in that moment, I think the writers are trying to push us away from the story walking theory and make us think that this is where it ends and this is where it stops and that Julie's not going to pursue it anymore.
But obviously that's not the case. We know that she travels back to the moment when her father passes away.
Yeah.
So, and the man in yellow says we keep meeting like this or something along those. He
Yeah.
said something along those lines.
So she does try again.
Yeah, she obviously tries multiple times.
So do you think she gets the bookmark
Uh,
test under control?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
All right. So on to the chisme of the week. This one came up a couple episodes ago, but I'm really excited to see if it comes to life. A Redditor has this theory that Julie will be able to save Jim.
Oh yeah, yeah. You told me about this one. This one's
Yes.
good. This one's good.
Yes. Where she'll travel with a talisman, and the talisman, she'll take it with her into the RV because we've been able to see that the RV can be protected with an talisman there. And recall, that's where Jim had his demise. And so the theory is that Julie will take the talisman, pull Jim into the RV so that the man in yellow does not, like, isn't able to hurt him. This is assuming that the talisman does affect the man in yellow,
Okay, yeah.
right? We do know that the talisman does not affect the dolls. So remains to be seen. Like, we can't just assume that genuinely the talisman.
Stop the man in yellow.
But we also have not seen the talisman not stop the man in yellow. Sophia is always indoors when the doors are closed. Somebody else opens the doors for her from the outside for her to get in. So not yet confirmed whether Sophia is affected by it or not. But if she isn't, then this could be the way that Julie saves
That'd be
Jim.
great.
Yeah.
That'd be a heck of a twist, a heck of a turn. So
But what do you think? Do you think Jim will be saved by the end of the season?
I think so. I think he's. I mean, don't get me wrong. I haven't really been the biggest fan of his character, but for the reason of story walking, for connecting plot lines together and giving more reason and rationale to Julie learning story walking, this is a culminating moment for it, and I think this will be the payoff.
Yeah.
At least for this season, we'll see as things evolve as we go into the. Is it next season's the final season?
Yeah, supposedly season 5 is the final season.
So yeah, as we go into the final season, and how she evolves, how things play out, what she'll be able to actually do while she's doing these story walking missions, and does she tell people about it? Will other people besides Randall know about it? So
Yeah.
will she actually talk to her brother about it? Considering he's the one that treating the Chromonaucle, maybe like
True.
putting two and two together. He's a kid that's read the Chromonaucle, seems to know it fairly well.
Yes.
Actually, picking his brain for more knowledge about it. So
Yeah. I think she's still in protective mode, but
yeah.
if they are able to get past that, I do think it's going to be quite powerful.
Also, is Chromonaucle just a one-off book? Is it,
Yeah.
is it a series of books?
Yeah.
So
Is there more to it? Yeah, you're right. We can't just assume this is just one universe. Maybe there's more, and this is just the one that Ethan brought with him, but he actually has access to more information from other books. Oh man, a lot happened. I'd love to hear from you on like what are you looking forward to in episode 7?
episode 7, I want Jade to go into those tunnels. I want Boyd to go. I want a team of the villagers to go into those tunnels safely. Come back, please. And unearth whatever that needs to happen in there. I do think it's going to be probably getting close to the end of the season, either 7 or 8. Or it's going to be one of the big episodes.
Yeah.
Generally, always the penultimate episodes. Generally, the one where lots of big things happen, either you lose important cast members, etc. So, that's it. I expect that to happen. I also expect Henry to start losing his mind now. So, and starting to affect Victor. And I want to see the first interaction between Victor and Sophia when they actually talk.
Yeah.
And that's going to be fun. And I think it's going to be unique because I think Victor's going to feel something about her. And also if and when Julie sees the yellow suit.
Yeah.
And what she says and who she tells.
Those are going to be big 3 moments. I'm excited for that.
What about yourself?
I think I'm ready to see some real movement on the Lake of Tears. I'm interested to see, like, are they going to take a hike? Like, are they going to find in Victor's drawings the multiple places that have that, like, lake that's over that rock formation that looks like an eye? So I'm excited to see what happens with the Lake of Tears. I am also, like, eager to... there's this one drawing that comes up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
In the
white face with the...
Yeah, the white face with, like, the little hair and then the, like, clear eyes. And, yeah, that one has come up. It comes up every single time in the opening.
And they did it this last episode,
yes,
too.
When Kenny was in Victor's room.
Not Kenny. It was... Oh, my God.
Boyd. Oh, that's when it was?
They purposely zoomed. So they're both drawing next to each other, and they purposely zoomed out and up, and you can see the drawing at the edge of the table. Yeah.
I think there's a ton of monsters that we haven't seen come up. I think that's another one that's coming with the white face. So those are the 2 big ones. Lake of Tears, that white face drawing. And then I really like your theory on the golem. It means that Fatima dies, and I really do like Fatima as a character, as an actress. She's fantastic, but it would be, I think, in line with her character for her to have a very dignified and, like, beautiful death that gives something positive to the villagers.
Yeah. And she's such a light for the village.
Yeah.
And this will be her ultimate sacrifice to bring something that protects them.
Yeah.
So
I think that might be what happens. All right. Well, that's it. We got through a lot, 3 episodes, but it's been super fun.
Yeah, and we'll try our best to not let life, throw us off schedule. But life is life. Life is always lifing.
Yeah, so. Life was lifing hard these past few weeks. So sorry that we were away. I mean, I know not many of you are listening. If you find us later, give us a like, a thumbs up, engage with our content, give us some comments on, like, what we could do better for next time. Subscribe. That'd be great. And until next time, we'll see you out of frame.